behind me is where the battlefield was and the battle took place. And this is amazing. I'm not going to do very much commentary on this. I'm just going to sort of flow with it and just show you guys videos through this. But it's major U.S. history here and our Civil War. But I'll show you guys some of the sculptures and some of the things and all the different brigades and everything as we go along. So get back to you soon. Say one last thing. As I'm standing on top of the Pennsylvania Monument, which is huge. It weighs something like, I think they said 1,200 tons or something like that. It's the biggest monument in Pennsylvania, and this is at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where one of the most major battles of the Civil War happened in 1863. And it was decided by the Union Army. But the battlefield here is just amazing. The landscape is virtually almost identical to the way it was when this battle took place, and the historical significance of this and America's Civil War is truly amazing. They have a lot of original cannons here, and just a lot of history. They set up the pickets the way that they were set up, as you'll see in some of the videos. And actually put my other camera down here, out that direction is actually where the battle took place, all along that area there. And just basically man on man and artillery on artillery. So come to Gettysburg, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the trip, because the rest of the video will mostly be just visuals of it, just to sort of kind of respect what happened here in a way. And so all of this area behind me that I've been showing you guys is all the battlefield. Thousands and thousands of American lives were lost. So from Gettysburg, enjoy the rest of the trip. in Gettysburg. And over my shoulder there, as you can see up there, is actually where General Lee's headquarters were for the 4-day battle. As you can see, there's a cannon right here. And the Union forces were over here in Gettysburg. That was the Union line. Gettysburg, the actual city, is in that direction. If you were to go straight up this road here, it would take you right into downtown Gettysburg. And over there is the Lutheran school or church that was here, sort of like a university. And so these were the grounds of Mrs. Thompson, who was a single mother who lived there and raised her kids there. And General Lee decided to take over her house as his headquarters. So it was his headquarters for the 4 days, or 3 or 4 days of the battle here. He arrived here in the afternoon on July 1st, 1863, and he was here until July 4th or 5th, and then he retreated. Now the Confederate forces retreated, as you can see, maybe or not. There's a few markers there, and there's a bridge there, and this was a creek that was significant during the battle. And so back that way is Hagerstown, Maryland, and Hagerstown, Maryland is where the Confederate troops retreated to, because Hagerstown, Maryland was a Confederate state. And so this is, as you can see here, this is a battery, the 4th battery. So these cannons were the actual cannons, not so much the chassis. These may be original, but I'm not sure. But these cannons for sure are the original cannons that were used and found here after the rebel forces or the Confederate forces retreated. So Gettysburg is amazing to see this history here and the Civil War history of the United States. And this was one of the most significant battles to take place during the Civil War. And the Union forces were able to push back the Confederates. And like I said, the Confederates went all the way back to Hagerstown, Maryland. So there's a lot to see here. I've only spent like 2 days here, and I've barely even scratched the surface. So you could probably really stay here and see the history of it for a week or so, because as the Confederates retreated, they also went into a few other towns back there where they also encountered some some Union forces. And so there were major battles down there. Antietam, I forget the name of it, I always say it wrong. And Fredericksburg, and there's a bunch of other battles that took place down that way, and as the Union forces sort of swept down into Confederate territory. But 23,000 men, 24,000 men fought. If you take that road all the way down, that whole area, even beyond those trees over there, that whole area there was where the battle took place. And General Lee could almost see everything that went on from that house. And as you drive down this road here, it takes you more and more to the battlefield. I forget how long the battlefield was, but it was really long. Drove it today, and it was one heck of a battle. So 23,000 men, and I believe there was something like 13 or 14,000 that were killed and wounded. And then they also keep count of the amount of horses that were wounded and lost or disabled. Because they used the horses to carry these cannons. They hooked the horses up to these reins and carried them up there. But so pretty amazing. I've walked through a lot of history throughout the world now to this point, and some of the history here in the United States, while not very old like other history I've ran into, is still very significant. And this whole area is hollowed ground. There's a map up there. I took a picture of it, but there was actually Confederate and Union forces that actually died on this land, on Mrs. Thompson's land, and they were buried here. So this is hollowed sacred ground. But anyway, thanks for enjoying Gettysburg. As always, peace, love, and let's experience this beautiful world together. This is Backpacker Mike signing out from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, United States. Peace.